Upland has just released crates and they are appearing all over the place in the metaverse. This is a really important feature that is going to have a big influence on shipping and transportation within the metaverse. I've been thinking a lot about shipping, and I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts about how I'm starting to strategize around shipping, outdoor decor, vehicles, and structure ornaments. As you can see, inside these crates are structure ornaments. These are seasonal items that can be used to dress up your home for a specific occasion. When you zoom in close enough to these crates, you are able to see the name of the structure ornament that is stored inside the crate itself, and you can click on it to open it up and see what's inside. You can learn more about structure ornaments in the link in the upper right hand corner. I'm sure you're already familiar that there's car racing in the metaverse, and you can use any vehicle to do that, whether it be a race car or even this van that I own. But chances are racing a van isn't going to be the smartest idea. And different types of vehicles like vans, pickup trucks, or semi-trailers are actually going to be best used for shipping. If you haven't had a chance to check out this video on 3 reasons that you need a car, the link is in the upper right hand corner. One of the important attributes that each vehicle has is the cargo capacity. Now, nothing has really been mentioned about any of these attributes by Upland, but I believe that every one of these numbers are here for a reason. Now, this cargo capacity has been something that I've been thinking about for quite some time, and the introduction of these crates, for me, has put another piece to this puzzle. Now, before I start explaining my train of thought as to how this is going to work in the future, I want to fill you in with some things that we know for sure about transportation in Upland. The first thing that we know is that there will be cities in Upland that will only be accessible by cars. That means that you're going to have to drive a car or be a passenger in someone else's vehicle in order to get to some of these cities. It's not just transportation between cities, but also in the future you might want to take a car within a city in order to get you to your destination faster. And of course, when we're looking to transport things such as outdoor decor items, structure ornaments, or even vehicles from their factories to the showrooms, you are going to need vehicles and, of course, cargo capacity in order to transport those goods from one place to another. It's not enough just to have a vehicle to help you get around. You're going to need spark in order to fuel that vehicle. Each vehicle has an energy efficiency rating that will influence how far your car can travel before you're going to have to stop and recharge it with spark. Now let's get back to talking about cargo capacity of these vehicles, outdoor decor items, and these new crates. I mentioned a moment ago things like these outdoor decor items, like these garden gnomes, are going to need to be transported in vehicles from the factory to a showroom and from the showroom to your property after you purchase it. When we talk about the cargo capacity, we don't actually know exactly how big this garden gnome is and how much space it takes up, but it is possible to estimate it based on the map. Each one of these squares is one up square. So I can somewhat guesstimate the footprint of this item based on the size of this 1 up squared. We can zoom out here and we can also see this property is 113 up squared. So if I wanted to, I could start counting these squares and estimating exactly the size of this property. This will also help me gauge the size of some of these structures and if they will fit on some of my properties, even without trying to test it out. So this garden gnome has a very small footprint, and if we take a look at some of these other outdoor decor items, like this FIFA World Cup mosaic, we can see that already on the map it is a much larger footprint than this garden gnome. When we're talking about cargo capacity and shipping some of these items from place to place, it's measured in volume or liters. And when we're looking at these items placed on the property, we're taking into account the area of the footprint itself and not necessarily its height and its volume. It would be very difficult to figure out the volume of these items, and it's quite possible that they might have similar volumes. If I wanted to create a 3-dimensional cube that entirely encompasses this piece of outdoor decor and do the same thing for this garden gnome, it might be that those volumes are very similar, simply because this garden gnome has much more height than this mosaic. If we browse out over onto this property here, we can go back and see some of these crates that are used to store these structure ornaments. Now with these structure ornaments, it doesn't make sense to put them on a property like you would the piece of outdoor decor. It would just take up way too much space because it is essentially the exact same size of the property and it may not fit in the backyard. But when you start thinking about it like in the real world, when you decorate your home for Christmas or Halloween, chances are everything that you put on your house can be put into a box. So it doesn't matter if you live in a micro house or an apartment building, all of the decorations are going to go into a box. And for simplicity, Upland has created a standard size box for all of these structure ornaments. Now calculating these Now calculating the volume of this box is something that is a little bit more simple to do. We can see here that each one of these squares, as I mentioned, is 1 up squared, and each up squared is equal to 9 square meters in the real world. So here I'm going to estimate and say that the length and width of this box is approximately 2/3 the length and width of this square. So that would make this distance 2 meters and this distance 2 meters. So we have a 4 square meter footprint here. And since it's a cube, the height is also going to be 2 meters. So we're talking about this crate being 8 cubic meters. Now the volume of this 8 cubic meter crate is 8,000 liters. Now compare that to the cargo capacity of my van. My van can only hold about 1,700 liters. So that would mean less than a quarter of this crate would be able to fit into this van. Now, to me, that didn't seem entirely right. So here I'm taking a look at the size of this van, and we can see here that it takes up exactly 1 up squared in terms of its width. And again, that translates to about 3 meters. Now, 3 meters or 10 feet is the standard width of a driving lane in a regular city or a highway. So when we're looking at the size of the vehicle compared to the crate, we can actually see that it takes up a lot more room than can probably fit in the van. Beyond that, this van is intended for passenger travel and not cargo travel. So that leads me to believe that only semi-trailers will be able to transport these crates. The cargo capacity on the Series 1 pickup trucks are only about 2,700 liters. So also that is not enough to carry some of these. Now, again, this is just speculation on my part, but this is my thought process when I'm looking at how I'm going to be able to transport things from my factory to my showroom. With the introduction of these crates, I think it's going to go beyond the use of structure ornaments, and these crates are also going to be needed for outdoor decor items. For example, this piece of outdoor decor item is bigger than the vehicle itself. You can see here that it's even bigger than this 3 meters, which is the standard width of a driving lane. So the question is, how can this actually be shipped between different addresses in the metaverse? Now, if we take a look at this piece of outdoor decor, we can estimate its size to be about 4 meters by 4 meters. So this is an area of 16 square meters, and let's estimate the height to be 10 centimeters. This makes it 1.6 cubic meters in volume, which translates to 1,600 liters. I'm going to go ahead and guess that in the future there will be different sized crates for different types of items. So I think that you're going to have to find a crate that is large enough to fit a 1,600 liter item inside of it, and maybe you might be able to fit multiple items inside a crate based on the volume of each item. That's how you're going to get a large item into a crate and into a vehicle. Assuming that what I have set up until now makes sense and is correct moving forward, I think that players who are designing 3D items as outdoor decor pieces are going to want to take into account the actual size and volume of their items so that when you're packaging it and shipping it between places, you're optimizing that in the best way possible. At the end of the day, if your outdoor decor items have to be packaged properly into crates and the crates are not completely full, you're going to have empty space in that vehicle. And when transporting a vehicle that is not 100% capacity in terms of the cargo that it can carry, you're going to be wasting valuable resources. We know that the vehicles will have odometer tracking on it and it can get wear and tear on the vehicle. Also, you're going to need to stake spark on the vehicle periodically in order to recharge it so it can continue to drive across the metaverse. I'm really excited to see how all of this manufacturing continues to play out. Let me know in your comments below what you think about my thought process and how realistic do you think this might be in Upland. We know that Upland is looking to recreate the real world in the metaverse, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly how deep they go into some of these details regarding manufacturing and the supply chain. There's still so much information that's missing, so if you're looking to get a head start in manufacturing, just take note that there's still lots of risk involved, and you may have to demolish your factory, or you may have to change your business model or your strategy moving forward.